Fishy.
Love Miami.
Fish with arms. Remember that? Oh! Hello and welcome to your 28th ranked baseball team. It's your Miami Marlins. They finished 62 and a buck last year. 33 games back in the division. 29th home record at 30 and 51. Let's see. They were okay in extras and one-run games. The second most runs allowed per game to the Colorado Rockies. Last year, they came in your 20th ranked team because they did make the postseason in 2023. But it's looking like a new era in Miami these days. Trev, who's new in the zoo?
Not a ton of new guys,
Okay.
but we'll go over some. I might butcher this guy's name, Eric Wagaman.
Yeah.
He's got 6 years of MLB control left. Came over from the Angels. They got Matt Mervis in a trade from the Cubs for Vidal Brujan. Connor Gillespie. He's kind of a starting pitcher, reliever. They got him off waivers. He hasn't been in the majors since 2017, but is trying to. I knew this name.
Perfect.
I knew this name. He was a hitter and a decent hitter.
Right?
Trying to revive his career as a pitcher with the White Sox. I was like, this got to be a different guy. It's a common
same
name.
guy.
Wow. Okay, we're doing it. Peter Bendix. He knows. Okay. Couple minor league deals. Amora Jr., Freddie Tarnock, and Liam Hicks was a Rule 5 guy. Again, not a ton of new guys. They did not re-sign anybody. So, Jake, really, this is the bigger list. Who have they lost?
Yeah, it starts off again with Adam Mahler to the KBO and Mike Baumann to the NPB, which, again, that's not a great sign. Although, hey, we've seen guys go there, come back. Let's see. They traded away, which this has to make you nervous for Fish fans. Baby Jesus Luzardo, one of the more talented arms in the game. He's going over to Philly after a weird injury year last year. Jake Berger, who hit 29 home runs last year, gets traded to Texas. You mentioned Brujan to the Cubs, and your guy Johnny Peretta. I don't know how much they'll field that. Roddery Munoz, McMillan, Peterson, Maldonado, and Sixto Sanchez. Outright it. That's one. Real ones are going to remember what that felt like. Trev, what's the lineup looking like? Are you looking and you're a-liking?
You know I say that a lot. I'm looking and I'm looking.
Okay.
I'm not really hating either. They got a couple guys who can swing the stick a little bit. It's it's a cheap lineup I think that's fair to say. Not a lot of big names here, not a lot of guys making a lot of money, but that's by design. I mentioned they got taken over by Peter Bendix, and we're in a rebuild phase.
Yes.
Everyone in Miami knows that. Again, I'll mention I love me some Miami. Leading off, Xavier Edwards had a great year last year, 70 games. The OPS was great. Connor Norby, again, another guy, had a decent year last year at third base. Jesus Sanchez, been around for a while. Jonah Bride, Griffin Conine in right field. DH will be De Los Santos, Kyle Stowers in center field. Otto Lopez at second base, and Nick Fortes behind the dish. I mentioned I love guys that can play multiple positions and catcher.
Yeah.
So that's Liam Hicks for you on the bench, catcher, first base. Derek Hill's in the outfield. Dane Myers is in the outfield. And then a utility guy, Javier Sanoja. Other names to watch, Matt Mervis, as I mentioned earlier, coming over from the Cubs, Victor Mesa, Graham Pauley, Augustin Ramirez, and utility man Eric Wagaman. Jake, talk to me about what I think. Well, maybe not the rotation, but the bullpen could be a strong suit. Talk to me about that, please.
Well, we've got some good news. I mean, Sandy. Remember Sandy? He should be back. Alcantara. We struggled with that one a lot throughout the years. He should be back. Cy Young winner. Followed by Ryan Weathers, still super young. Edward Cabrera. Max Meyer, big-time prospect there. And your guy, Valente Beloso. rounding out the rotation. And they should get help through the year. Yuri Perez is supposed to come back around midseason. Braxton Garrett, not so much. Should miss the whole season and get him ready for next year. Watch out for Adam Mazier, Freddie Tarnick, Calvin Fauché in the bullpen, Tinoco, Anthony Bender. Yep. Andrew Nardi, Declan Cronin, most innings out of that bullpen last year. Couple other bodies are going to be up and down for them. So that's how the Marlins have transformed their roster, and you can get ready to transform your baseball watching experience with DirecTV. Head to directtv.com to learn more about what's going on over there. So, Trev, again, it happens quick in baseball. I mean, Skip Schumacher's one of the more well-respected guys in the game. They went to the postseason in 23. Last year, not so much. The wheels fall off. Sandy's back. That's huge, but it's pretty clear they're in a rebuild. They've never lost 100 games in back-to-back seasons, so, Miami pride on the line this year. I guess what's speaking to you or what's not speaking to you?
I mean, clearly they're just trying to rebuild their system. I want to see how Sandy looks. What are they going to do with him if he looks good? That's to be seen. I think we could see some decent pitching. They've always been able to do that. We begged the Marlins, add a bat. You've had these starting pitchers, and then it just never really happened. I mean, since the big dogs were there, Yelly and Stanton. Who am I missing from that group? The big dog.
I mean, there's Real Muto, there's Ozuna.
Ozuna's who I was missing. They haven't been able to really do anything offensively since those guys have left. So that's my question mark for them. Like, in this rebuild, are you going to be able to find hitters? Can our guy Pete figure that out? This year, I think it's going to be tough for the Marlins, Jake. I don't know really what else there is to say. They got a new manager. Clayton McCullough is a guy that I talked to a ton when I was possibly going to be with the Dodgers on a player development side. Quickly found out that was not for me, but I talked to him a bunch. He's an upbeat dude who's going to be perfect for what they're looking for. He was, I believe, at one time the minor league director for the Dodgers. Not sure on that. He was doing something in that realm. But again, the attitude is perfect for what they're going through. So will he be able to get more out of these players than Skip Shoemaker, who's probably like, dude, I want to win. I think he understands the role. I think that could happen. But if you're a Marlins fan, I think you understand it's going to be quite a long year.
I didn't know you and Clayton McCullough were...
Yeah, we had hour-long conversations on the phone. I wonder if he remembers that. Yeah,
I bet.
Just talking ball.
Just talking
ball. Just a couple guys. I'm not kidding you, bro.
Yeah.
Me, Clayton, Will Rhymes, just on the phone, talking.
So here's my thing. That 2023 team that won 84 games and made the postseason. First in WAR, Luis Ariz. He gone. Jesus Luzardo, number 2 in WAR. He gone. Braxton Garrett, number 3. He gone for this year. Tanner Scott was number 4. He gone. Sandy, hey, he's back. He was number 5. Yuri was 6. John Birdie. Jorge Soler hit some tanks on that team. So it's a lot of new bodies. You'd love if Sandy could return back to form because he could, if I remember correctly, he has a pretty team-friendly contract if he gets back to being Sandy Alcantara. He's $17 million this year, 17 the next, and then a team option for 21. So I know this isn't what Marlins fans want to hear right now, but
say it.
This team needs an overhaul. And
that's great.
If Sandy Alcantara, I'm trying my best. If he can get back to being that guy, you would have one of the most valuable trade assets in baseball that, hey, I don't know if Peter Bendix is the guy, I know this. He has a plan. Like, he's gone out. He's traded for prospects. You're going to see some of them. Xavier Edwards was pretty nice last year. I got some guff. I did a shortstop tier list with Jolly. I had Xavier Edwards kind of low, and for what he did last year, it was kind of low. If he was
That's Blake Snell's Xavier Edwards, right?
the slapping dicks. 2.2 WAR in like a half a season, a 128 WRC plus. Connor Norby was one of those Orioles player generator prospects. He got some run there with some mild success. What's a full year look like for him? And then it's kind of funny, like, as we look around at some of these lesser teams, like Sanchez, Jonah Bride, like, for what they did last year, they were positive players that I don't know what it looks like, man. We talk about the best divisions in this sport. Phillies, Braves, Mets, the Nationals. Let's see what that looks like. And when, on their Fangraphs page, I know you talked about some other guys. I guess the only person they listed as they lost as a free agent was Tim Anderson. I don't know, man. I don't. What's this team's identity?
You hit it. They're in a rebuild, Jake.
Yeah.
They're in a rebuild. I don't think they're looking or caring how they do this year. I think they want some personal performances to cash in. Does it mean 100% if Sandy comes out and is I doubt he's going to throw 230 innings like he did when he won the Cy Young, but if he looks healthy and he's effective, does that 100% mean they're going to trade him? Like, they don't have to. They got a couple years to do that. So if you really love Sandy, he could still be on the team all year. But yeah, they're in a rebuild. And I think I'd rather my team just come out and be open about that than say, we're in a rebuild, but we're trying to compete as well. That's not true, dude. Like, you can't do both. You just can't. And I know it makes it harder with the lottery in the draft lottery to really tank and get all these top picks and stuff. But I think they have a direction. They understand where they're at in the division. They understand what they have to do. And we're looking at a couple of years here where I think it's going to be tough for the Marlins. And again, if any of these guys come out, besides like a Max Meyer, like, I don't think he's necessarily a guy that's going to get traded. He has too many years of control. But like, if these pitchers come out and have success, the chances are they're going to be on the trade block and they're looking towards, I don't know, I don't want to put a number on it, 2027 for this team. And it sucks as a Marlins fan to hear. But again, I think I'd rather have my ownership and my front office come out and say that than try to lie to me. Like, if you're a baseball fan, if your team's trying to compete or not, they're not. I think it's them and the Twins who haven't signed a major league player. A deal to a player to a major league contract.
Yeah. Not probably what they needed for this year.
It is what they needed.
Yes.
They're rebuilding. That's what I'm trying to say. The Twins, that's kind of like, shame on you. You have a chance to win your division and you don't make moves. Sorry for the errant shot there, but yeah. I understand it from this standpoint.
Frustration. I'll say, saying something nice about the Marlins, I could see them being interesting next year. Okay. Sandy bounces back. Weathers and Edward Cabrera are 25 and 26. Max Meyer, this was a 1-3 pick. Can he figure it out? And even if something happens with some of those guys, for next year, Braxton Garrett should be back and Erie Perez. So when I think about next year's Marlins rotation, that fish with arms we used to talk about, that can be back. That, I guess it comes back to the same thing, and where with the Rockies and the Marlins, Seattle shouldn't be lumped in with them, but the Marlins, it feels like they've been missing hitting since the guys you mentioned earlier. That if Xavier Edwards and Connor Norby and Otto Lopez, who had 2.5 WAR in like 3/4 of a season, if we can look at an infield there, and then maybe we're saying like Jorge Soler, like they can find free agents like that it would. The Marlins could end this season with some hope for next year to be a punchy Marlins team. And that's not going to happen this year, and maybe that's okay. But let's see where the young talent is, especially in that infield, because these are guys that have a real chance. So, I don't know. Sandy be good. They kind of they always seem to have some pitching. Like this bullpen, compared to what I looked at for the White Sox and the Rockies, is a totally different level. Like Bender's a major leaguer. Fauché, Nardi, like this is a major league bullpen.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I've said they've been able to develop pitching. I don't know what that means for this year. You can have a good bullpen, but are you going to have leads? Do you know what I mean?
That's a part of it, right?
You gotta have scoreboard runs in the other team, and then your bullpen comes in and does it. Yeah. I like the middle of the infield. You mentioned Otto and Xavier Edwards at the middle. Okay, I like that.
Otto and Xavier. Is there something we can do with that? Those are two names that feel like they're connected, but they're not.
X's and O's.
That's why he's the guy. I don't know what else to tell you.
I want to root for this team. I do. I just think they have a direction. And I'm a little scared to talk about their over-under because I have an idea in my head and I don't like it.
All right, let's get to the DraftKings over-under with the fish. And the NBA season is hitting its peak right now during spring training. Get in on all of the action with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you use code Talkin. Monster Slams, dishing the rock. That's my game. Cleaning the glass. That's Trev's game. Get behind your favorite players with prop bets at DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use code Talkin. Bet just $5 on any wager. Get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Talkin only. The DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Coach, what you got?
I'm going back and forth. You've kind of convinced me about pitching staff. Could they get some offense, and are they going to keep the players that perform well? That's the one thing I'm worried about here. My gut right now, 63.5. I'm telling you right now, my gut is saying under. Now, the first two teams, I went over on the White Sox. That was 51.5. I went over on the Rockies. That was 60.5. This one, I can feel like a slight under, but I don't know if that's my final answer. So I think we should do it on 3.
I think I've got mine.
In 3, 2, 1.
Over.
Under. I'm sticking with my gut.
This is the first one. I'm not fading myself a little bit. I think they're going to pitch.
They've always pitched, yeah.
I know, and the Marlins are this kind of weird team in baseball history. They've got a couple World Series banners. They've never lost 100 games in back-to-back seasons. That I don't know. I think there's some good baseball people in here, and I think they're going to be able to pitch enough that a couple young guys in the lineup will click. And I also, this might sound a little obnoxious, but I think they can play a little defense. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, I'm not jumping to Brewers or Rays or anything like that, but I think if you can pitch enough and field the ball, you stumble into some wins that give me the over, baby.
The only thing I'm worried about, I'm looking at this team last year, won 62 games without Sandy. So he comes back. That's obviously a plus, but Tanner Scott also pitched to a 1.18 in 44 games.
Good.
He ain't there.
No.
AJ Puck ain't there.
No.
So there's some few holes, and what I keep going back to is they're in a rebuild, 100% in a rebuild. I'll stay with my under. I don't love it.
It's a tricky one. That division's brutal. if the Nats are good, then the rest of the division is going to be significantly over 500 probably. That doesn't bode well. Let us know what we missed on the fish or what you're looking forward to. We will be back with your 27th ranked team in this upcoming baseball season. Make sure, if you're ready to transform your baseball watching experience, head to directtv.com to learn more. Thanks, DirecTV. We'll see you guys soon.